it's this interesting thing because everyone's keeps talking about, AI is going to supplant all these jobs, and this swath of people will lose jobs and they'll have to go find something else. I don't see that. I see it actually allowing us to do more with our current staffing. How many more leads could your sales team get through and contact if actually they were put in front of them at the right time, right place?
Hello, and welcome to Women in the Driving Seat, where we take the time to shine a spotlight on the wonderful women in automotive. This week, we're going to be talking about revenue growth, specifically finance, data, and AI. Oof. To do so, I'm joined by Farzana Kosar from right here at Autotrader and Harvey from Keyloop. First, we have our guest bios. Farzana is Director of Pricing and FP&A, Financial Planning and Analysis, right here at Autotrader. She has over 25 years experience working in finance roles, ranging from management accounting through to commercial finance, with speciality and experience on supporting strategic and business deliverables through deep financial insight. She loves building high-performing teams and developing other finance professionals. Her experience as a finance professional has been bolstered by understanding the dynamics of a business and helping to optimise revenue growth, ranging from building pricing strategies through to short and long-term financial planning. She is a 43-year-old mum to two, a son aged 18 and a daughter aged 9, and has been married for 20 years. Harvey joined Keyloop in September 2021 and was appointed Chief Revenue Officer in 2025 after serving as Chief Alliances Officer. Harvey's focus is on overseeing all of Keyloop's teams and processes related to revenue growth and enabling customers to be successful. Harvey reports directly to the CEO and provides strategic direction to the board of directors on go-to-market strategies as Keyloop transforms into a modern technology provider for the automotive industry. Additionally, she is on the board of directors for EG, a Nordic software company based in Denmark. Known for approaching challenges with curiosity and a beginner's mind, Harvey combines laser focus on commercial growth with a passion for cultural transformation. She leads from the front while bringing everyone along on the journey. I like it. That's nice. Good. Yes, she tries. Also, she's just off an overnight flight back from the States. So thank you for being here.
Thanks for having me.
Well, not a problem. Let's get straight into it. Let's see. Farzana, what plates have you been spinning and what balls have you been dropping this week?
Just this week? Or it feels like lots of plates. This week actually has felt like quite a long week because there's been lots of collaborative meetings sort of in the office, over Teams, and it just feels like it's been quite a like an intense week in general, just with lots of decisions that had needed to be made commercially. But personally, I'd probably say the balance of the kids going back to school and college, etc., and settling them back into the routine straight after the summer.
A wide range
of one child going to college and another going into year 4. So I'd probably say the biggest ball that I've dropped this week is renewing the school uniform. I missed out a key major element, which was the PE shoes. So that was one of the balls I've dropped this week.
Did you just have to gloss over it and move on?
I would just have to gloss over it, and move on.
Mm-hmm. Nice, wise.
Compensate with an expensive pair of trainers.
There's always a cost in the end. And Harvey, what about you? What have you been up to?
I just got back from a conference in Florida. It was kind of a go-to-market conference. So CROs and CCOs from around the globe kind of culminate into Orlando once a year. So it was really interesting, lots of great content, but then also means I'm not doing a whole lot of other things.
Yeah.
I think the biggest ball that I'm dropping is my inbox. It is just collapsing on itself. But in the mix of that, I have 2 board meetings next week. So preparing a deck for one, reading a deck for the other, preparing for a keynote next week, trying to help my team close deals for Q3, figuring out the annual operating plan for next year. I mean, it's just like,
wow. How are you about auto replies and out of office? Do you ever put an out of office on, or
no?
do you
I
just
find
keep
them
it ticking
so
over?
annoying, and they just gum up my inbox. I'm like, please stop. I would love to just get rid of them, but I never put them on.
While we have you, can you explain to all of us briefly, especially those out there who've never heard of Keyloop, what it is, what it does.
Yes. So Keyloop has an automotive retail platform that runs everything from buying and owning a car, servicing it, parts distribution, all the software that end consumers don't really know exists in the background. It helps retailers with the supply and demand side of their business, also running the workshops, that ownership journey, tracking both the lifetime value of a consumer and also the vehicle. And then we also have a lot of products that we sell into finance and fleet to help with the retention of a customer and a brand, making sure that fleet has all the tracking and everything. So we have actually quite a wide base of what you would quantify as a customer, because it's the retailers, it's importers, it's OEMs, financiers, and fleet companies.
Wow, everyone.
Yeah, pretty much.
And in what countries, what markets are you operating?
We operate across 90 countries.
Oh, wow, I didn't realize that.
Everywhere except the US. And we have offices in 30 countries and about 3,500 employees.
Right, wow. Where did it originate?
It originated in the UK.
Okay,
People probably historically know it as Carriage. About 40 years ago. And then it's had a bunch of iterations since then, and then became Keyloop in 2021.
Right. So does that mean, are you all about data? I'm interested by the amount of people who work in automotive industry, a bit like Autotrader, who aren't necessarily, you don't have to be into cars, you don't have to know anything about it, because it kind of wouldn't matter what the product was at the end of the day. Is that where you are?
Yes. I mean, the automotive industry to me is very data rich and information poor. Autotrader does a great job of mining data, serving it up to the industry. But I think that retailers, OEMs are sitting on a gold mine of information that they can't get their fingers at. And then once they do get at it, they don't really know what to do with it.
Interesting.
And this kind of plays into my history of being at a data analytics company that was acquired by Google and living for quite a few years, actually right in the nub of all data analytics, predictive, prescriptive, machine learning, all of that. It's fascinating, and it's a great growth opportunity, but it's disheartening to see the lack of data usage or access to data in this industry.
Do you think we're hampered by things like GDPR and things like data security, or you just think that's not the issue? The issue is,
I don't think it's the issue.
We can't see the wood for the trees. We can't too much data, not enough time to understand what to do with it.
I mean, I think you need to have a data strategy. The data has to be centralized. And when you have all these disparate solutions that it lives in, it's almost impossible to get at it. And this kind of plays into AI as well, because people are trying to jump on the AI bandwagon. But if you don't have centralized data to feed into an LLM or to use in AI, you can't actually utilize it. And I think for a long time in automotive, the main piece of software that retailers were using was the DMS. And the DMS didn't...
What does DMS stand for? Just people that
dealer management system. So it's essentially like an ERP and kind of a CRM light.
Oh my God, there's so many acronyms in this woman industry on there.
Sorry, I don't even know what ERP stands for. Enterprise Relational Platform. No, that's not it.
Sounds good.
Anyway, heavyweight piece of tech that runs all of your parts distribution, your accounting modules, like all that stuff. That's an ERP. And then, of course, the customer relationship management system to actually manage your customers, your leads, your marketing, etc. So if you take those two things and you kind of put them together, that is what a DMS was historically used for. All DMSs in the industry, I think I can say that fairly, didn't really move on. They just kind of got stuck in this phase where they didn't modernize. And so what happened is you had this explosion of point solutions that integrated with the DMS to try and extend the functionality.
Yep. Okay.
And while that was great, what that then led to is things like double keying, multiple systems. If you talk to a retailer, one of their employees, probably the sales advisor, has to kind of hop between about 80 different systems to complete a sale of a car.
Wow.
It's insane. But then if you think about, well, I want to run analytics off of all those systems, how do you do that? Like, where does the data actually live? Because you need a database, you need a data warehouse that you can attach an analytics tool to, to then extrapolate the data, visualize it, use it, understand it.
And I think the thing is, none of them systems will talk to each other in a seamless way either. So, like, stitching that information together is almost impossible.
It is, unless you have an IT team that has built you a data lake or something of that nature.
Yeah, Farzana, you're busy nodding away at a lot of this. So let's delve into your role a little bit here, and also maybe pick up on the fact that, you know, are you a car nut? Does cars matter to your role in your job, or could you be dealing with cakes? I'd like to deal with cakes. Let's start with your role a bit.
My role, so like obviously you explained at the start, director of FP&A and pricing, and it's so varied as a role. I'm so privileged, like within Autotrader, get to work across lots of multitude of teams, so product teams, partnerships teams, which is equivalent to a sales function in another organisation. And a lot of my role isn't just about crunching numbers, it's about bringing to life the commercial reality of the concepts that people are designing around, like data products or different products that are going to be serving our customers. So it's a bit more of that voice of reason around the commercials and how it's all going to come to life. Obviously, it's backed by insight and data, and I have an amazing team behind me. So, like, you could be one day talking about how you commercialize a product and how you price it and take it to market, and then another day you could be talking about, you know, the long-term plan for Autotrader and how we're going to continue to grow revenue. So it's such a varied role, and I'm so privileged to be able to execute it at Autotrader.
It sounds like you and I are personality and character opposites, because, you know, sometimes I think I'm not a good fit for Autotrader, because I come in as a journalist just, I had a great idea this morning. Let's just do this, and let's just do it now. I don't want to run it past anyone, and I don't want to wait till tomorrow. There's today, you know. Yeah. And I just heard you saying, I'm all about the voice of reason, calm. Yeah. Let's just put some strategy and planning behind that.
There's so much excitement
FP&A for you.
Yes, definitely. And there's so much excitement from everybody, so much passion. People, you know, will think, you know, the product's the best thing in the world. There'll be pricing strategies that we can build around it, and some of them will be really hard to execute unless you've got a really strong go-to-market strategy. So all of these things do need to come together, and in the middle of it is your, you know, commercial reasoning of why you want to do something. And sometimes it isn't always about the quickest way to make money. Sometimes it's about the longer term gain that you're going to get. So it's very interesting, and I find it, like, you know, I find that you have to spin quite a lot of different plates, wear a lot of different hats, but if you understand the business really well, you'll be able to contribute really valuably.
I like that, though, as well, the disparate nature of what you're talking about, because I think when people think, for example, accountancy, but people think, oh, dull, it's not sexy, it's not cool. And I thought, sure, you'd have something to say about that. But also my view of accountancy has always been, it is what it is. It's a very narrow box if you're an accountant. But what you're talking about is a role and a career that is pretty varied.
Yeah, and I think the role of accounting has changed so much over the years. You're so much more embedded in the business, in the operations, like a true business partner, like really helping people to understand either the consequence of making a decision or the opportunity around making a decision. Isn't just about black and white numbers on a spreadsheet anymore. And obviously, anybody that says it's not cool and sexy hasn't met the Autotrader finance team.
Well, there is an invite, if nothing else. So could you do, you have a chartered accountancy qualification?
That's right, yes.
Could you do your role without that?
You could definitely build experience, but I think to be able to progress in an accounting role, you would need them groundings in your qualification. They do tend to give you a really good grounding and foundation into how to, like, really progress and excel. You definitely can gain experience, but, like, the qualification just empowers you that little bit more to get ahead.
And so could one, if there are girls listening out there at school or parents of school girls, and the girls are, I don't know, 16 and think university is not for them, will there still be a way for them to kind of leave, get a job, go in and ground up, start working up, and maybe take that qualification?
There's so many different routes to getting that qualification, more so now than the traditional route was probably a degree, then going to do your accounting qualifications. Now there's lots of different routes. You can either do an AAT qualification straight after school, or you can get a degree apprenticeship, and a lot of it is balanced between experience and academics. And I think this the fact that there's so many different pathways and routes to doing it, it opens the doors for lots of different people who operate or think a lot differently.
That's great.
I think it's also worth pointing out that finance and accounting are two very different things.
Mm-hmm.
And I think everyone quantifies accounting and finance as the same thing. And if you talk to someone in finance, they're like, I am not an accountant. Do not put me in that bucket. And finance, I think, it has to be grounded, obviously, in calculations, but it actually takes that creativity to it as well, which I think applies to a lot more people as opposed to someone who may not think that they really are a fit for an accounting role.
What about personality types? Does the world of finance welcome the risk takers and the more reserved types, everyone in between?
I think it does. I mean, if you look at people that work in a private equity company, they're taking risks every single investment. Same with venture capitalists, right? Every startup that they invest in is a risk. There is something that could send it sideways. I do think, though, that attention to detail is a very important asset to have.
Right. Not just fudging stuff. And I hear you. And Harvey, looking at AI, because that's now in pretty much every conversation in most industries and most roles. Tell us about how you are using or how you plan to use AI at Keyloop.
Yeah, we're using it both internally and externally. So internally, it's actually augmenting our development teams. In some cases, it's starting to engineer software for us to accelerate the pace in which we can take things to market. We're looking at how it can actually implement products for us, speed up, and kind of deepen the value that our customers get out of customer support, all of those things. And then from an external standpoint, we're using it heavily and kind of embedding it into our products for our customer base to use. Of like, when a lead comes in, can that chatbot keep it warm? Can it give them relevant information so it actually has a lead scoring and passes the lead to you as a sales advisor when it's ready to go, as opposed to you doing a bunch of the background work that you would normally do? Can it actually mine the data in the customer relationship management system to keep loads of people warm? Making sure that you have propensity to buy scoring, making sure that like if there's life changes, it kind of understands that and can suggest cars that are applicable at that certain time. From a retention standpoint, it's putting that retention offer, that new finance offer in the hands of a person that either is close to their finance expiring or maybe has done other things with their life, moved out of the country, needed a bigger car, whatever it may be. So there's a whole bunch of automated things that we're building in to enrich the customer data to really put it in the hands of a salesperson or a service advisor at the appropriate time, as opposed to those people spending time doing those activities themselves.
And where are you with chatbots? Have you got more enhanced chatbots out there, more developed and sophisticated ones now live in the field?
Yep, we do. And we're seeing a ton of value delivered to our customer base with those. It's really incredible to see the returns on it. Yeah, and it's this interesting thing because everyone's keeps talking about, AI is going to supplant all these jobs and, this swath of people will lose jobs and they'll have to go find something else. I don't see that. I see it actually allowing us to do more with our current staffing. How many more leads could your sales team get through and contact if actually they were put in front of them at the right time, right place, and they knew the background of what that lead had already done, the research it had done, the things it's interested in, etc. We've all walked into a dealership and started from ground zero, even though we kind of knew going in exactly what we wanted. You have to then retell that story to the human that you're standing in front of. And it just kind of takes that away and eases and streamlines the whole thing.
Yeah, sounds good. Okay, we're already at podcast pit stop time, which is our little quick fire round for a little breather. Farzana, I'm going to go with you. Are you ready?
I'm ready, I think.
Calculator or spreadsheet?
Oh, spreadsheet.
Automotive or tech?
Tech.
Blue or red?
Red.
That's not a political question, by the way. I just realised how that sounded. London or Manchester?
Oh, that's a tough one. It's going to have to be Manchester.
Extrovert or introvert?
Oh, is there no in between?
No, not in this question.
I'd have to go introvert.
Slippers or stilettos?
Oh, stilettos, definitely.
Done. Harvey? States or UK?
For now, UK.
B2B or B2C?
B2B, for sure.
OEM or retailer?
OEM.
Salad or soup?
Salad.
Family or friends?
Ooh.
They're the same thing.
Oh, neat. Jewellery or makeup?
Jewelry.
There you go. That's you in a nutshell. Farzana, coming back to you. So do you care about cars? Are cars important to you in your role or you generally?
I think when you're in it, when you're in the automotive industry, you do immerse yourself into it somehow. You might not be like, into the cars specifically themselves, but you're into the industry. So cars do matter to me, I think, aesthetically as well. Like I am a big lover of cars.
Are you a badge snob?
Yes, I am. And I'm not afraid to admit it either. But I do love the whole design of cars and everything. It's just I'm not like into performance of cars, but it does matter to me. I think the industry, it helps you like getting to know the trends. So I think it matters. But on your previous question around would it be cakes or cars, does it matter? I think not really. It's how everything comes together, like you said before, and the power of that and being in an industry that can make all of that happen. It could be cakes or cars. And I really believe the team that I work with could make anything happen.
Nice. Am I right? Do you sit on the ALT here?
I do, yes.
Explain to people what the ALT is and how that feels to sit on it.
It's it's not that newly formed. I think it's coming up to a year. So the ALT is the Autotrader leadership team. Mm-hmm. So it's a team of what we describe as almost custodians or guardians of the Autotrader strategy. So it's a team that come together that represent all areas of the business. So you've got like obviously myself from finance, you've got people from product and tech, you've got people from partnerships, and it's such a diverse group of people with different thoughts and perspectives that come together to debate, challenge, prioritize the direction of the business to make it have a really solid foundation. But because you've got access to every part of the organization, you're almost representing your parts of the organization and reaching out into other parts of the organization. So I'd say it was a group of collaborative custodians across Autotrader.
It's interesting, two things that come up constantly on this podcast are one, collaboration, especially in automotive, because right now, there are so many disparate parts of automotive.
Yeah.
Everyone's trying to work together to find solutions. And diversity, in terms of leadership and
Definitely,
boards and having everyone feed in. It just seems more critical than ever to have that.
I think so, definitely. And you can hear it in the conversations, like in the challenges and the debates. It's not always that everybody agrees straight away. You go through a journey of like disagreeing and then agreeing and taking people on a journey. So I think that's the power of the diversity of thought.
What about you, Harvey? Have you got a diverse team? In terms of thoughts, characters,
and we've heavily invested in getting it more diverse. I think when I first came into Keyloop, there was this misnomer that we needed people from the automotive industry.
Right.
And I think you can teach automotive much easier than you can teach sales or you can teach...
Yeah, like there's core skill set, isn't it? Yeah.
And so, when I had my sales kickoff earlier this year with the team, I had all the people in the room raise their hand that had never worked in the automotive industry. And it was a good 40 to 50% of the room.
Okay.
And then I said, look around. Everyone who doesn't have their hand up, they know something about automotive. So if you need anything, go to them. Yeah. And they'll get you up to speed.
What about age? Have you got diversity of age? This is becoming, I guess, just because I'm heading to 50, this is becoming a bugbear of mine, especially with women in automotive, where are the women in their 50s and 60s? But just in generally, people aged over 50.
Yeah, I have a lot of people on my team that are nearing retirement.
Great.
This is the first time in my career that I've been figuring out how to get all of the information out of someone's brain that's been working at our company for 40 years because they're retiring, and then we're going to hire someone new. Yeah. So
I'm glad you see the value in that. Yeah. So CRO sounds like quite a major role. And you've literally just flown in on the red eye from the States. So it's not sounding like a great work-life balance, but maybe it is for you.
I make it work. It's a heavy job. There's a lot going on. We're modernizing and transforming our company, which takes a heavier hand than it normally would if you dropped into a company as a CRO and we're just running it on autopilot. But I make sure to actually schedule in advance, like when I'm going to work out, make sure that I prioritize that, because if I don't do that, then I know I start to break down over time.
Do you take your gym kit with you if you go off abroad?
Mm-hmm. Yep. Yeah. It was great. At the hotel I was just at, I'm like, this is great. I can roll out of bed and in 30 seconds, I'm in the hotel gym. This is fantastic. Yeah. So yeah, I definitely prioritize that.
It has a knock-on effect, doesn't it, as well? It's not just physical stuff on your emotions if you're not exercising or whatever it is that you need to just have that release.
Yeah. And I take a lot of meetings walking. I have a dog, and when I'm working from home, if I don't need to assess a presentation, if it's just a one-on-one with one of my team, I'll just take the call on a walk. I'll put Copilot on to if there's any notes or next steps that I need out of the meeting. So I don't even have to look at my phone. Yeah. So I mean, I think it's stuff like that, and that malleability of you don't need to be sitting behind a desk for 8 or 9 hours a day to do your job.
Yeah, exactly that. Because I was just thinking, just as I was asking the question about work-life balance, that term in itself is a bit outmoded now, isn't it? Because work-life balance is quite binary, and it sounds like balance sounds like you've got to get 50-50, or actually everyone's a bit like, is it work to live or live to work? But there's so much more fluidity now in how work combines with people's lives, isn't it? And also for some people, I had a guest on a couple of days ago who said, well, work is my life because I just really love it, and I'm a band of one, and I travel on my own, and I like socializing with my colleagues. So that might sound a bit sad for some people, but that's my work-life balance in my work right there.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it's transformed over time. My parents see me working a lot, like in off hours. They lament, oh, you work too much of that. But it's the fluidity that exists now. And I think it's on us to make sure that you have boundaries in place so you don't burn yourself out. And I think it's a pendulum that is always shifting. Your balance, probably because your kids were out of school for the summer, shifted more to caring for them, and now it's shifting back to getting heavier into work. I mean, I think it's just ever changing.
Yeah. Well, yeah. How is it for you, Farzana? What's your work-life balance, and how do you get what you want?
I think similar, like, having them boundaries, and balance to everybody means different things, doesn't it? Like the things that you've just said are super important, like gym is super important to me, and whether that I do that at 5 o'clock in the morning, but that's kind of my time, my space. And do you
get up really early?
I do get up early because that is literally the only time I could fit it in. Wow. But it becomes a part of your life. It becomes discipline. It becomes a thing that you get used to. So I think you're right. Everybody finds their own groove, and as long as you recognize when you feel like it's unbalanced, then I think that's the most important thing. And I think, to your point, like you go through fluidity, you go through moments of time when work does demand a lot more of you, and as long as you're okay with that, that's absolutely fine. It's them boundaries and putting the things in place that that you can either cope with physically or mentally, and I think that's super, super important.
It also requires, doesn't it, a company to be mature in its understanding of what it requires from its colleagues and its staff, because to your point, Harvey, no one is expecting anyone to necessarily sit in front of their computer, tap in, tap out for 8 hours a day, but you do expect the workload to be done, and it's apparent if the workload is getting done or not, right? And I always think around that, you've got to entrust your employees to perform in the way that best suits them. Yeah, it's going to have positive consequences for both parties.
Yeah, I completely agree.
Well, we are almost out of time, which brings us in a kind of philosophical way to our last question, which is around life lessons. Farzana, what have you got for us? Give us some pearl of wisdom.
Do you know what? Like, I always think you can never stop learning. Like, never ever think you know everything. Mm-hmm. And I wouldn't say it was so much a lesson, but more of a motto that I generally go by is always just be kind. Just be kind in every situation.
That is simple and true. I like it. Thank you. Harvey, what about you?
I think mine would be, when there is doubt, there is no doubt. Oh. And it is so applicable to so many different situations, hiring, firing, relationships, getting new jobs, like how you feel about, I don't know, clothing or taking that trip or whatever it is. It's just really listening to your gut and just, yeah. I tell my teams all the time, when there's doubt, there is no doubt. You know the answer. Just do it.
Yeah.
Don't oscillate.
Don't oscillate. Come on. I love it. Thank you very much. Thank you both for coming on today.
Thank you for having us.